state of emergency declared in Cape Breton as unusual snowstorm buries parts of the east coast in 100 centimeters. An extraordinary global event, Toronto to host Canada's first ever FIFA World Cup match at MM5 in 2026.
Anne-Marie, MM5 News Studio, Canada. It was a weekend that brought 100 km of snow to parts of Nova Scotia. A hefty cleanup is now underway. An epic multi-day snowfall event has set records across Nova Scotia, with some residents now digging out of 100 km of snow.
This was an unusual stalling low-pressure system that sat off the coast of Nova Scotia for days, bringing the highest snowfall totals ever seen for some in the Maritimes, says Matt Grinter, a meteorologist at the Weather Network. This system developed on Friday and continued to drop heavy snow through early Monday morning. In Sydney, an 89 centimeters has been recorded, setting the record for both the highest today and three-day snowfall event. At the Halifax airport, 84 centimeters was reported by Monday morning, but with existing snow already on the ground pre-storm, the region has set a record for the most snow on the ground ever, with a whopping 96 centimeters. Cape Breton Regional Municipality declared a local state of emergency for the next 7 days due to the overwhelming amount of snow. There have also been widespread school closures across Nova Scotia for Monday.
The match schedule for the 2026 FIFA World Cup has been revealed, and Canada's first game will be held in Toronto. The tournament, hosted by Mexico, Canada, and the United States, will kick off on June 11 at Mexico City's Azteca Stadium, FIFA announced.
Canada will host 13 of the 104 games at International Men's Soccer Tourney, with 7 in Vancouver and 6 in Toronto. On June 12th, the United States and Canada will host their opening games at Los Angeles SoFi Stadium and Toronto's BMO Field, where 7,750 temporary seats will be added to meet FIFA's 45,000-seat requirement. The June 12th game in Toronto will be Canada's men's national team's first, before heading to Vancouver's BC Place for their next 2 matches. Both Toronto and Vancouver will host 5 group stage games. Canada will also host 3 knockout games for the round of 32 on July 2nd in Vancouver and Toronto, and another in Vancouver on July 7th. The final match of the 2026 World Cup is set for July 19th at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Already some displaced families that came to Canada are living in tents, and another 90,000 people are expected in the next 60 days.
February 24th marks the 2nd anniversary of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. Rick Hillier, irrepressible even in quasi-retirement, is sounding the alarm on Canada's lack of preparedness to absorb yet more displaced Ukrainians. He's particularly galled by stories of newcomers, at-risk families we invited to our country, living in tents in downtown Toronto. It will likely only get worse. The feds anticipate 90,000 newcomers from Ukraine will land in Canada in the next 2 months. We have not had a national vision, a national strategy, and a national effort to make this Ukrainian refugee response happen. But we can do this. We've done it before, Hillier says.
The federal government is extending its ban on foreign home purchasing in Canada, Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland announced in a release Sunday.
The rule, which was first announced in 2022, will now be extended until the beginning of 2027. It bans foreign nationals and commercial enterprises from buying residential property in Canada, with exceptions for some international students, refugee claimants, and temporary workers. By extending the foreign buyer ban, we will ensure houses are used as homes for Canadian families to live in and do not become a speculative financial asset class, Freeland said in the statement Sunday. Experts have questioned whether the ban is having a significant effect on housing affordability in Canada, given the relatively small share of the overall housing market owned by non-Canadians. In 2020, for example, the share of the market owned by non-residents in some provinces measured ranged from 2 to 6%. A construction workers needed to be rescued by emergency crews after falling down a deep hole at a construction site in Mississauga.
A man has critical injuries after he fell into a deep hole at a construction site in Mississauga on Monday morning.
Emergency crews were called to a high-rise under construction on Dundas Street, west of Ontario Street. Around 8:30 a.m. officials say a worker fell down a hole that is approximately 20 feet deep. Orange Air confirms that a man in his 20s was rescued and airlifted to hospital with critical injuries. Fire crews used a Stokes basket to lift the man out of the hole. Paramedics transported him a short distance away where the helicopter was waiting for him. Dundas was closed in both directions between Ontario and Confederation Parkway during the rescue effort.